If you're an ardent beachgoer, then you must have seen different creatures on the beach sands or even maybe made some discoveries of your own. However, whatever you may have found is nothing compared to the creatures and things in our list of 10 of the most bizarre discoveries found on the beach. Are you keen to find out for yourself? Ancient shark. In March 2020, a rare and ancient Greenland shark washed ashore on a beach in the UK. The specialists estimate that the beast may have been around 100 years old when it passed away. Experts are unsure of how a shark so old and enormous wound up on an English beach. On the southwest coast of England, near Newland Harbour, it was initially discovered trapped in the sand. The waves, however, swept the carcass back into the water before anybody could remove it. 2 days later, the shark was spotted again, still stranded on the sand. This time, researchers seized it and brought it inside to study. Only twice in recorded history has a Greenland shark been discovered on a UK beach. Even while it's a terrible situation, Abby Crosby, a marine conservation officer at the Cornwall Wildlife Trust, said it's a crucial chance for researchers to study the shark. Because they often dwell more than 8,500 feet below the surface in the Arctic's chilly waters, Greenland sharks are interesting creatures. They might also live for at least 270 years, according to a 2016 study. However, little is known about the biology of this enigmatic species of shark. They not only have a lifespan of nearly 2 centuries, but they also keep becoming bigger with time. Adults have a maximum length of 24 feet. They are fierce, though not as fierce as great whites, so don't be alarmed. Byzantine Church. In the Israeli city of Ashdod, archaeological remains from a Byzantine-era church have just been discovered. It dates back 1,500 years to the time of the Eastern Roman Empire, according to archaeologists. At that time, Ashdod was a significant port and a hive of activity. The municipal police unit was doing a normal search of the dunes along the shore, only a short distance from the ocean, when they came across the church's remains. A marble pillar that was buried beneath the sand was found after the investigation. It's amazing it didn't get carried away by the water, given how near it was to the beach. Unaware for years, people had been strolling on top of an historic church. We need to go back to 2017 when archaeologists discovered the whole ruins of the Byzantine Church nearby to comprehend what the pillar was doing so close to the coast. This most recent beachside pillar discovery was undoubtedly a component of the church, most likely one of the support columns holding up the heaving ceiling. And would you believe it, this church may have previously been the most significant in the entire city. It can be seen on the 6th century map of the Holy Land that is the earliest known to exist, the Madaba map. It is a mosaic. The church is visible as a magnificent building touching the beach. The city progressively deteriorated and fell into disrepair during the decades. Then people gave up on it. The amount that the water has risen over the past 1,500 years, though, is alarming. The ruins of this cathedral, which formerly stood on the outskirts of the city, may now be seen all along the shore being ruffled by the waves. Colourful dragons. Following Australia's record rainfall, people were discovering colourful critters on the country's beaches. Experts were perplexed in 2022 when scores of these odd multicoloured sea dragons were discovered strewn across the sandy coastlines. In New South Wales, they were discovering a lot of them. Finding a sea dragon on the beach is not very rare, but it is odd to discover so many of them all around the shoreline after a storm. Over 20 sea dragons were discovered in the same period, according to David Booth of the University of Technology, Sydney, a very unusual occurrence. These lovely aquatic creatures spend their whole lives staying within 150 feet of their habitats, and when powerful currents are washing the ocean floor, they latch on to kelp, anchoring themselves in place. The very definition of a homebody is a sea monster. They never stray far from their birthplace, and they shouldn't most definitely be gathering in large numbers on the shore. How this occurred following a straightforward shower of rain astounded experts. When this many bottom-dwelling marine animals wash up dead on the beach, experts warn it's terrible news. It's obvious that something awful has happened in the seas. An alien in Australia. Early in 2022, a guy was strolling along a Queensland beach in Australia when he came upon what he perceived to be an extraterrestrial. After the man snapped pictures and uploaded them online, the alleged extraterrestrial body quickly gained popularity. The creature had human-like hands, a lengthy lizard-like tail, and the head of a monster from another world. Alex Tan, a preacher in the area, is the person who discovered this item. When he first spotted the animal, he initially believed it to be a flathead fish, but as he came closer, he realized that wasn't the case. Only that it was around 3 feet long was all he knew about the object. The only thing Alex was certain of was that he had discovered something peculiar and unusual. The public erupted with theories as he shared pictures of the enigmatic creature on social media. Some referred to it as a chupacabra. Some claimed that it was a type of extinct marsupial, while a University of Queensland associate professor had a different theory. According to him, the creature was most likely a brush-tailed possum that lost all its fur and become swelled from being out at sea. According to Stephen Johnson, an expert, the head and the hind leg make it clear. Most likely a downpour caused it to be swept out to sea. Which would you want to find on the beach? An alien-like creature or something simpler to explain, like a shark or a squid? If you haven't already, please subscribe and let me know in the comment section below. Metallic mystery. A massive metallic item washed ashore on a Rhode Island beach in 2017. Nobody could identify it since it was such an odd-looking piece of machinery. It not only caught the eye of the local news but also made headlines on a global scale. People speculated that it might be a piece of a top-secret military experiment, a broken piece of oceanographic gear, or debris from an unexplained flying object. Numerous theories have been put out, but no one has ever found the answer. In situations like these, there is typically a lot of talk about the odd object that washed up on the shore before an official person shows along and confirms what it is. However, no representative was present this time. All that is known about the thing is that it was around 6 feet tall and was made of 8 metal poles twisted in a circle. On the East Beach coast it washed up, then it was swiftly removed by a construction crew. Surprisingly quickly, they disassembled the item, put it into a truck and drove away with it. Authorities were supposed to inspect it, but we received no word about that. We have no idea how or why this strange device ended up on the shore. What do you believe? Let me know. Sand dollars. The summer of 2021 saw one of the most horrific incidents in maritime history. You've probably heard about the massive die-off that happened during the freak heat wave that hit the Pacific Northwest, but you might not know that thousands of sand dollars mysteriously washed up on the coast of Oregon as a result of the massive death of creatures brought on by the sudden and uncontrollable warming of the ocean. When sand dollars die and wash up on the shore, they are tiny, round animals that resemble coins. However, many who became stuck during the summer were still alive when they were found. They were forced onto the beach by the high tide, became trapped when the tide turned, and were unable to swim back into the ocean. In other words, they became too dry and perished before the next tide came in. Nobody has ever seen anything like this in such staggering quantities. Sea urchins such as sand dollars can only survive briefly outside of the water. They seem fuzzy because of their small purple spines. The exoskeletons of dead sand dollars are what you find on the beach. Sadly, we have no idea what brought so many sand dollars to the shore. Hopefully the strange situation won't occur again in the future. Freaky creature at Bondi Beach. Beachgoers in Sydney, Australia discovered yet another bizarre animal that had washed up on the shore. This one had a slightly extraterrestrial appearance as well, but the main distinction was that it had human lips. This sea monster appeared to be waiting for a big wet kiss from someone. The strange monster had shark-like skin. It was perplexing to the locals and was approximately 1.5 feet long. It didn't look like anything they'd ever seen, according to the Sydney beachgoers. Early in April, while running, Drew Lambert, the man who discovered it, came upon the odd creature. It was resting in some water trash at first, kind of blending in with the seaweed, and he barely even spotted it. However, he snapped pictures and uploaded them online once he gave it a closer look and realized he was dealing with something really unusual. Letitia Hannon, the manager of the Sea Life Sydney Aquarium, finally found the answer after considerable discussion. She said the fish was either an Australian numbfish or a coffin ray, a weird extraterrestrial-looking fish with human-like lips. It just appeared strange and bloated because its body was stuffed with gas as it decomposed. Ice eggs. A beach in Finland was covered with hundreds of ice eggs in 2019 due to a unique meteorological phenomenon. These ice eggs were ice balls that resembled large hailstones rather than genuine eggs. In the Gulf of Bothnia, which is situated directly between Finland and Sweden, they were found on the shore of Halo-Otto Island. The ice eggs on the beach resemble the McDonald's ball pit, except they aren't as colourful and there aren't any shrieking kids there. The eggs were created by a process involving wind and water. A 100-foot stretch of the coastline was covered with frozen eggs after tiny particles of ice were tossed around by the wind and became larger as additional ice formed. Some of them are the size of soccer balls, while others are similar to regular chicken eggs. Local resident Riso Matilla, who found and filmed the incredibly unusual phenomenon, had been in the city for 25 years and had never seen anything like it. One of those once-in-a-lifetime events is happening right now. In our lifetimes, it's unlikely that we'll ever again see a beach covered in ice eggs. Cannonball on the beach. Construction workers in Norfolk, Virginia were removing sand from a local beach when they stumbled upon a sizable and peculiar surprise. In the sand, they discovered a cannonball. At first, they had no idea what it was and believed it might be explosive, so they dialed the police. Along with the Air Force, Explosive Ordnance Disposal and the neighborhood police, fire and rescue arrived. They verified that the object was a cannonball and that it was safe to handle. Since they're often shot from cannons, cannonballs do not explode. Still, we don't know where the cannonball originated from after the bomb squad removed it for disposal. It could have come from a more contemporary military vessel or an ancient pirate ship. Simply said, there's no way to determine, although it was most likely from the Civil War. We don't know how long it was buried in the sand before the bulldozers discovered it either. Sea cucumbers. Some of the coolest and most unsettling things you may encounter on the beach are sea cucumbers. These odd creatures lack both eyes and limbs. Between a mouth and an anus, they have just a collection of organs. They also ooze goo out of their behinds to detract people who find them on the beach and meddle with them. These enigmatic marine creatures are much more than simply milky goop. Sea cucumbers are quite expensive per pound. Normal cucumbers cost less than $3 on average, but a pound of sea cucumbers will set you back more than $1,500. People risk their lives by diving into the water to gather these items since they're so expensive and sought after. The reason for the expensive price tag dates back many years. For hundreds of years, only the richest people in Asia could afford to consume sea cucumbers, which were considered a cherished delicacy. They viewed them as a delightful, protein-rich treat. Then, in the 1980s, when we common peasants suddenly had access to what had previously been considered luxuries, demand for the creatures skyrocketed. All members of China's expanding middle class were on the prowl for succulent sea cucumbers. A sea cucumber may be sold for more money if it has an interesting appearance. There are over 1,250 distinct species, but that doesn't prevent them from being quite expensive. The Japanese cucumber, which costs around $2,000 per pound, is the priciest species. Do you wish to try one, or have you already tried one? Tell me in the comments section below. I appreciate you checking out the channel. What's the most bizarre thing you've ever discovered on a beach? Share your thoughts in the comments section below, and if you haven't already, subscribe for more videos on extraordinary discoveries. I'll see you later. Bye.